Parents, my name is Mrs. Van Winkle, and I will be teaching your students biology this year. My first slide is usually about my background and a little bit about my passions and about my family. So I like to show a picture of my family in Alaska. This was actually 2 years ago. We have friends that live there, and we went and visited them. My husband, CJ, my daughter, Cassidy, and my daughter, Kerrigan. A few of my favorite teams would be the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a big football fan. I love the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm, super excited for baseball to be back on. And I went to UC Irvine and got my degree in biology. You'll also notice down there on the bottom portion of my slide is some contact information. That phone number is for the office phone, which I may not have access to some days. So the best way to get in touch with me is email. I also have a Remind app that I use that I will give you guys access to later on. I'll give you guys the code for you guys to log in. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me. As far as the class goes, a few more pictures of my family, is going to be fairly seamless as far as the parents who are used to Valley Oaks from their 9th grade year. A lot of the requirements are the same for the 10th grade year. Definitely a desire to learn. I do like them to have either a binder or a folder to keep their papers in for my class. A binder is not required, but if your student is better at keeping themselves organized by using a binder, please feel free to get them one, but a folder will definitely suffice. Definitely paper, pencil, and eraser. Flashcards or lined paper for vocab terms. I'm a big fan of vocabulary, and biology is very vocabulary heavy, so I highly recommend that the students write the words and definitions. Depending on the format they decide to use flashcards, they could do the word on one side and the definition on the other, or if they decide to do a piece of lined paper, as long as they have them in some form. The students can use their vocabulary terms on their assessments for that chapter, as well as on their final at the end of the semester. So I recommend that they keep them throughout. They will not be turning them into me, so those are for them to keep, and for you as the parent to basically say, yes, they have their flashcards or vocabulary terms on a piece of lined paper done. That's basically how you'll give them their points on their portfolios, which I'll get into next. They do not need to bring their books to class, so whatever classes we do have on campus, the students may leave their textbooks at home. Okay, so as far as my course grading goes, the work completed at home, which will be their portfolios, are only 15% of their grade. And I realize that's not a lot, but they will have access to the information while they take their tests. So my main concern basically is to make sure that the students' portfolios are correct. So as a parent, if you have access to the answer keys online and you're able to access those, I highly recommend that you grade your students' portfolio. It's not required, but we highly recommend it, again, just so they have the correct information to use on the tests. I do allow the students to use their portfolios on their tests, so it does benefit them to have the correct information. Most of their grade is going to come from what we complete at school or on their assessments. So the work they completed at school will definitely be labs that we may do in class, or classwork, or labs that I do online with them, depending on our Zoom schedule. But yeah, most of the work that they complete with me as the teacher, I should say, is where the 85% comes from. So that'll be 60% for assessments, and that will be the assessments that they take on Google Forms, and I will give them ample time to make sure they know when those dates are, but it will be when their portfolios are due. So on the very first page of their portfolio, you'll notice a due date. That is basically when they will take their test on Google Forms. The 25% of the classwork, like I said, will be either labs we do online together or assignments that they'll turn into me on Google Classroom, which I will definitely show them how to do the first day of class. As far as quizzes go, biology general doesn't really take many quizzes, only because I only have them for a short amount of time. But if we do have a quiz in class, I will definitely give them ample time to study and be prepared for that quiz as well. It'll be multiple choice, it'll be super quick, and we usually grade them together in class so the students know how they did. As far as exams go, I know 70% is a C, and that's basically where I'd like to keep the students, that or above. So I do offer retakes for tests that they may not do as well on, or if they want to get a better score. So if we're after they take the first test and they get, let's say, a 75%, if they come back in and they tell me, Mrs. Van Winkle, I would like to do test corrections, I allow that, and then they correct their mistakes, and it raises their test score 10%. So instead of 75% on the test, they now have an 85%. If for some reason they don't score a 70% or above and they want to go ahead and do a retake, I offer that as well. So if they get, let's say, a 60% on the test, I offer them a retake, and I will not average them. I will take the higher score. So I want to make sure that the students know the material and are doing well throughout the course. So again, test retakes and test corrections are offered to everybody, no matter how they did on the test. The retakes, like I said, will only be for the 70% or below, and the test corrections would be for anybody above 70% that wants to do better. So again, I want to make sure that the students don't have test anxiety and that they're able to do well and understand the material. As far as my remind goes for Biology G, that is going to be the code that they're going to use. So if you'll actually text that number to 81010, that will get you onto my remind. I have remind messages throughout the week, just reminding the students of when things are due, or hey, make sure that you realize this is tomorrow, or hey, we're going to have class on campus tomorrow, or no, we're not. Just depending on quarantine, how this all works out, we'll just kind of work on this together. The other thing I wanted to show you as well is going to be the answer keys on the website. So if you guys have access to internet, and again, if you don't, I can obviously print these out and you can have a hard copy, but this is just going to be on the school website itself. So if you click on this lovely page will open. And I know you guys have access to your password, if you will, but if you go to schools and then Bakersfield High School, don't be confused with BHS. And if you go to parent resources, it'll be the home educator answer keys. So if you click on that, and then under science. So you'll notice all of the core subjects are here for the home educator answer keys. For me, will be science. And I'm gonna go ahead. So once you guys get to this page, you'll notice the password here. And again, you'll access this password based on the paperwork that you got from Mrs. Rains at the front desk when you enrolled your student. There is a directions for online answer keys sheet in that packet. If you hit enter, you'll notice this connection is not private. That's basically our IT department requires us to put that on here. If you hit advanced, you'll actually be able to proceed. So make sure you hit proceed, which we realize is unsafe, but it is definitely a safe website to use. So once you are able to access that, then you will notice that this will open. So as for me, here's biology at the top. This will be your guys' answer keys for the remainder of the year. So I have my syllabus here. So most of the information I went over with you will be available on that syllabus as well, my email address, and then basically all of the answer keys you will need. As far as fall semester goes, that's basically what you're going to be concentrating on for the fall semester until Christmas break. And then the interactive reader answer key. So you'll notice my portfolio is in two parts. So the first part you'll notice will basically be active reading worksheets. There'll be some quizzes in there. There'll be some vocabulary review. And then there'll also be some practice tests in there as well. The next portion will be the interactive reader. And that basically looks like a textbook. So I'm going to go ahead and open. Okay, I went ahead and opened up one of my portfolios, what they will look like. So this basically is going to be your fall semester answer key. Like I said, you'll notice active reading and quizzes. You'll notice that there's going to be some short answer questions potentially. There'll be some directed reading worksheets in there. But basically all of that will be your fall semester answer key. When you get to here, you'll notice it kind of looks like a textbook. So you'll notice that the kids can read throughout, write in the margins, they can highlight on this, but it'll also say interactive reader at the bottom. So you'll notice interactive reader, that's where you'll use the second answer key. So as long as you guys are aware, let me go back. Like I said, the fall semester answer key will be all of the other worksheets, the first part of the portfolio, and the interactive reader will be what looks like a textbook. So basically all of this will be their portfolio, and it usually takes about 2 weeks to get through. I may give them 3 depending on the pacing of the class and how quarantine is going, but I want to make sure that the students have plenty of time to know the material. If for some reason they're not able to get through the entire portfolio, I highly recommend that they at least do the vocabulary review, which is the second to last portion of the packet, and the test prep pretest. Those basically are practice questions that will help them on the actual test. And I actually take some of those sample questions and put them on the actual test. So whenever this is going to be due, and let me show you what their agendas look like. Go back into here. So on the very first day, they're going to get this agenda from me. And I know if they've been to Valley Oaks before, they're used to our agendas, but they basically go in order. So weeks 1 and 2, potentially, this is what they're going to be working on. So if we scroll through, you'll notice on, Wednesday, please do this. And on Thursday, please do this. And I basically paste the class if I was a student in the class taking it. This is basically the work that I would get done on a daily basis. If you and your student decide, hey, I'd rather get 2 days worth of biology done in one, that's completely up to you. You know your students better than I do. But I just basically paste the class how I would take it if I was a student. This just basically makes it so it's not so overwhelming. And you'll also notice too, on the very last day of the portfolio, it'll say review for all material and study for test on Tuesday. So basically meaning when we get to the portfolio evaluation sheet, which is you as a parent basically giving them their points, this is basically what's going to be on the very first part of their portfolio. So you'll notice chapter 1, you'll notice the due date will be August 27th, and then basically all of the assignments will be in that portfolio packet. So they don't have to attach anything or take anything away. It will all be included on that portfolio page. And then basically the total points. So you as a parent, I'm hoping will give them 100% based on the work that they grade or that you graded from them. If for some reason you're not able to grade their work, I understand working parents, especially now, it's a really stressful time. But like I said, it's to their benefit for you to get on that school website and access those answer keys in order for them to have the correct information. Because again, they can use their corrected portfolio the day of the test. So I'm highly recommending, if at all possible, the parents were able to grade their portfolios. So again, this chapter 1 will be due August 27th. And we'll basically go from there. So if you guys have any questions, please email me. Please log into Remind, and you can message me on there. It goes directly as like a text message. But I'm here to help any way I can. So I hope that I answered some of your questions, and I look forward to having your students in class. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.